What is up, fellow dorks? Thank you for tuning in to Rant, episode 47, a Historics podcast. We specialize in everything in the historic format, and that includes historic Brawl as well. We're going to get into how the show works, but at any point in time, you just want to get into the meat and potatoes, be sure to use the time annotations, the time hacks if you're watching via YouTube. Main topic tonight is going to be our main phase 1. But we are the Dorks. My name is Michael Apollo, and holy shit, dude, I am dying out here in Arizona. It has been about 115, 117 degrees.
Oh, dude, that's brutal.
The best.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude. Needless to say, my only saving grace is that I have a pool. So, I mean, I am definitely... Dude, like, my pool the other day was, no joke, 88 degrees.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Like, you just dive in and you're like, oh, this is like, it's better than 117.
I mean, yeah. A little bit. It's like a hot tub. Yeah. That's crazy.
Yeah, it's almost like a jacuzzi, man.
Nice.
So yeah, my name is Michael Apollo. Next, we have a man who matched with Tom Cruise on Tinder, which is pretty odd on both ends. But word is that Tom finally gave in to Hoshi's love haikus. So we have Hoshi.
Hey, how's it going? I didn't know we got matched. I gotta check on that. Might have to take a break soon. You know.
Yeah, I don't know why I'm getting alerted to this stuff. Like his, like, you know, press secretary or something is like,
that is
please
weird.
let Hosh know.
That is weird.
Yeah.
I do forward all my emails to you, so maybe that's why. I don't know.
Oh yeah, that's why I get a lot of weird stuff on there.
Maybe.
So as you can see, we do not have DrunkenDork here with us, but funny little Teo. So he lives in Seattle, and he decided to take a little stroll in his lovely little city of Seattle. He's bobbling his huge head, you know, he's drinking his nitro coffee, and out of nowhere, someone comes up to him. And yeah, so apparently he was recognized like via our YouTube and our Twitch streams, right?
That's cool.
Yeah, pretty cool. Mike thought it was like a heartfelt fan, but no, it wasn't. He was a Yu-Gi-Oh player.
Oh no.
And he just straight up just says heart of the cards, punches him, like decks him right in the face.
Wow.
Out of nowhere, dude. It just knocks him down, like his big head like reverberates off the concrete, you know, it bounces a couple times.
Oh man.
And yeah, this Yu-Gi-Oh kid, like his best bud is a Pokemon TCG player.
Okay.
You know, so yeah,
cool.
So he just pants him. Yeah, he just takes off his pants, and he just leaves DrunkenDork in his whitey tighties in the streets of Seattle.
Well, he's used to that.
And yeah, he's used to that. He's used to being pants, so he felt comfortable there. And the last words he said, you know, when paramedics came to help him was "Waka waka wah." DrunkenDork, you know the joke.
If people out there don't know, I've always said that he says waka waka all the time. Like that's his sign off phrase. He'll be like waka waka why, and he's like, I've never said waka waka. It's great.
Yeah, it's good. It's a good insider, and I had to bring it back. So miss you, bud. See you next week. And again, this is the Rant podcast. We are the Dorks. The way that our show works is through the actual phases of Magic. So we have our Untap, Upkeep, Draw, main phase, Combat, main phase 2, End Step, Cleanup, and then finally our Discard. But just like every game of Magic, you always start with your Untap step. So let's untap her up.
All right.
With a drink of our choice.
Here we go.
And you know, you always got to have the little
Untap.
Oh, there we go.
bringing it back.
That's a good one.
It's gonna be really easy for me. I'm keeping it light. You know, I'm in training and all that bullshit I keep talking about every single fucking time. So Michelob Ultra hard seltzer, super low calories, 0 carbs, yum.
I got one of
but
those.
what about you, dude? You're looking like that's something I should be having in this hot weather.
Oh, this is nice. It's very refreshing. So we've been on this like infusing kick recently.
Oh,
which,
yeah.
Which is, so this one is infused with basil, which we grow an insane amount of basil here. It's like, it grows like a weed in this environment. It's crazy. We keep having to cut off like tons and tons of it. So we just threw a bunch in vodka with like blueberries and did like a blueberry basil infused vodka. And so it's that with something else. I forget what. I didn't make this. Jamie made it. She makes all my drinks for me. She is the specialist back there, and she called it a French something or other. I don't know. It's super tasty though, whatever it is. So,
yeah.
Sorry,
No,
I kind of dropped the ball on this one.
Well,
yeah. Well, cheers.
Cheers to you. Cheers to all you out there. Cheers, Drunken Dork. Hope you're having a beer wherever you're at. And yum, we freshen. So moving on. After our untap is always followed by our
upkeep. Get ya upkeep.
Yes, just like the snake oil salesman said, upkeep, get ya upkeep here. So that is our Reddit rant. Hoshi, I will turn it over to you.
Okay.
To just tell us what is the Reddit rant?
Sure.
And
So
then we'll go on from there.
sounds good. So Reddit rant is where we scour the internet for lunatics, and usually, it's easy pickings, right? Because Magic the Gathering is a game where people lose their effing minds week after week, usually exploding all over the internet with their craziness. Especially, I lost 30 games and I went second 30 times in a row, and all kinds of good stuff. This week is surprisingly hard to find a good ranty lunatic. I mean, there were some on there, but a lot of them were kind of sad. So I felt like that wasn't really like the tone of our Reddit rant. Instead, we found our own Reddit ranter right here, and it's Apollo. So Apollo, why don't you take it away? Why don't you take it away this week with your own Reddit rant?
And it might be due to lack of toxicity in the community lately, which is like a good thing, I guess. Okay. But there has been something I've been very ranty about, and it has to do with historic Brawl and an experience I've been having. So I went on to the Magic the Gathering Arena MTG and allowed myself to get ripped on. I write, I know I concede. I know I can concede. I know I am causing my own misery. But why, oh why, do people slow roll when they 100% have the win? In our play group, we call that dexterbating. And seriously, in my opinion, it's insanely rude and unsportsmanlike. What do y'all think? And I just get ripped on the whole time. Like, I'm just there's like nothing constructive about this. So like this guy was like, you answered it with the first sentence of your post. Okay. Well, no. Oh man. And there is some good stuff here, but other people are saying things like, they're trying to get their
they got
their dailies,
Yeah.
Which I understand. I understand that. That's why I always do the dailies in play mode. If it's a color combination I don't want to necessarily reset it or something like that. But I don't know, man. I'm specifically talking about 100 card Brawl, and it has been happening to me nonstop. Where they're just dexterbating, dude. Like, I am tapped out. I got nothing to do, man.
Yeah.
And like this mono green Stompy player was just like, cha-ching, 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 more cards. I'm gonna ultimate Nissa, all the fucking lands. Like, cool, dude. Like, just swing with one creature and you win. I don't know. I'm starting to rant again. I'm starting to get upset. So
I just concede.
That's my Reddit.
Yeah, I mean, I totally get what you're saying, because I try and be sportsmanlike sometimes too, especially if it's an interesting deck, and I want to see or if it was a hard fought battle where I'm just like, hey, you were in this one, dude. Just finish it off, right? And then they're like, actually, now I'm gonna draw a card and stuff, and I'm like, all right, dude, concede. I tried to let you have it. You weren't doing anything interesting. Like, if they're gonna combo off and do something cool, sometimes I want to see what their combo looks like too. Other than that, like, if I know that I'm just gonna die or whatever, I'm like, I'll just go to concede. I don't really care. It's just time for me. But yeah, I get it.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I'm causing my own misery with this one.
You are.
Like, I mean, I can just very well concede. I know I'm going to lose.
Yeah.
but I find it so fucked up, man, that people just can't why do that? I don't know. Some people are assholes. So
Yeah,
that is our Reddit rant. I guess I'll just finish it off. If you guys have a Reddit rant or something that you've been finding online, please join our Discord. You will see a link to our Discord in the description below, whether you're watching us on YouTube, Twitch, or wherever you get your podcasts. So with that, we will move on into our next segment, and that is our
Let's draw.
Draw phase. Draw phase is what magic formats and decks we have been playing this week. So Hoshi, I'll turn it back to you. What have you been doing this week in the world of Magic?
Oh man, I've been going crazy on just the 100 card Brawl. That's like almost exclusively what I've been playing. And it's been great for the most part. I've been playing like so many different decks that I basically took almost all of my 60 card Brawl decks and then turned them into 100 card Brawl decks, which has been really fun, I think, because with the 60 card ones, it was kind of like, there's so much good stuff in there, and like having to spread it out between like 100 cards has really made like the experience more commandery, I feel like, in playing it. Like the variation in the deck is a lot more, I feel like, and I just had a lot of fun. I think my favorite so far was the Golgari Elves, where I was playing Tyvar as the commander. I had a lot of fun playing that deck. I feel like I was kind of right in between the Wizards' weird algorithm thing, where I was playing powerful decks sometimes, and then other times I was playing like just like random stuff. But I mean, I think we were going to talk about that during second main phase anyways, like how we, our experience with the algorithm and the 100 cards in the first place. But, I mean, I was playing, my second favorite one was my Ashiok deck, which is apparently a super powerful deck according to Wizards. Ashiok is a tier 1 commander, I guess, because I was just playing against nothing but Omnaths and Winotas and stuff with that deck.
How do they determine that, man?
I don't know. Well, I mean, to be fair, I was beating them like most of the time, actually. So I think I had like a 75% win rate with that deck. It's just brutal. I mean, it was like all counter spells, like Ashiok, basically. So it was a really mean deck. It was all kill spells and counters and stuff. I was that guy. I was playing it, where people are like, "Why do you play this?
Man.
You're a horrible person." And then I'm just like, wait.
Demir control, here I come.
It was pretty fun. What about you, man? What were you playing this week?
Exclusively historic Brawl. Like sometimes just for like climbing some ranks, get some coins or whatever, I'll play traditional historic. Selesnya Coco, is it Phoenix, Gruul, whatever the colors are needed for the dailies. But then I'm right back on 100 card historic Brawl, and holy shit, I fucking love it, man. I mean, I know I just ranted about it, but I love this format. I want this in. I want this to stay. I've been playing Zacama. Nice. Naya. It's like Naya lands, like Naya lands control-y. I posted a deck list here. If you guys are watching on YouTube, everything like that, we'll post all the deck lists and the links for them if you guys want to take them. Well, if they ever bring it back. But it is such a cool deck, man. I'm really digging it. It really does like a lot very quickly. It has like a really good early game, really good late game. Fire's Invention's amazing. Ski Swarm, Abundant Harvest, like Bone Crush. There's just so many cards. And I know, Elish Norn for the top end, Vorinclex. Like, I know Drunken says that it's nothing like it, but I'm actually going to kind of agree with what you just said right now. This feels like Commander to me, dude.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously we don't have the card pool,
but
like
not even
the
close.
card quality is there. I mean, we have the Cultivates, we have the Wraths, we have the Day of Judgments, we have the Planeswalkers, we got Ulamogs. Like, you see that stuff in Commander. You see top end Eldrazi. You see a lot of insanely powerful early to mid game play. The Praetors, of course, Mirari's Wake. There's a lot of staples here that we use in Commander and are in Historic Brawl. So I've been having a blast. I absolutely love it, dude. And,
same.
I wish it didn't leave.
Yeah, same here.
So, so with that, we will go into our Main phase 1. Oh, little effects there. Main phase 1, main topic of the night. So tonight we are talking about some new mechanic that came out for the Dungeons and Dragons. I forget the Forsaken Sanctuary. I don't know, whatever the
Forgotten Realms.
There it is, Forgotten Realms. Well, I forgot the realms that we're going to. So, and we're gonna touch in a little bit into the 100-card Brawl algorithm and get more into Historic Brawl later in the segment. So, with that, let's just go ahead and dive right into it. So, we got a new mechanic. It's called Dungeons. And Dungeons is kind of weird. It's like a saga. Except that it's not like a card that you put into your 60-card library. So the way it works is that you have all three. You have access to all three of these dungeons. Mm-hmm. And they do work in the sense of a saga. When you fulfill a requirement, then you move on to the next room and so on and so forth. Well, how do you even get a dungeon? Well, you're going to need creature cards that have the static text venture into the dungeon. So you keep these dungeons in your sideboard. They're not part of the 15-card sideboard. And then when you venture into a dungeon, the trigger goes on the stack. So you grab whatever dungeon you want to go to out of the three, and then you put it into the command zone. So now the command zone is a zone that exists in standard, historic, whatever. It doesn't even have to be commander. There is a command zone, an invisible field. So, you know, kind of like an emblem almost. It's not sure if it can be interacted with, as it seems like it can't be.
It can't. No, it's in the command zone, and from what I've able to tell so far, the only way that you can interact with it is you can counter the triggered abilities. So, like, when you move into a new, like, dungeon zone or whatever they're calling it, level or, you know, new room abilities, I guess they're calling it because they're dungeon rooms. So when you move into a new room, that gets a triggered ability, you know, just like a saga would or something like that. So you could use, you know, like denial or whatever it is to, you know, trigger, like, counter the ability. But that's it. You can't, like, destroy the dungeon or counter the dungeon coming in or anything like that.
Yeah. So let's say we have a creature, right? Like we have Nadar, Selfless Paladin, and its text says venture into the dungeon. So we have it up here for you guys. Tomb of Annihilation. Boom. This comes into the command zone, and you get the first room. And it says, like, trapped entry. Each player loses 1 life. Okay, cool. Well, how do you go into another room? You play another creature that says venture into the dungeon, and it'll trigger again. And if you can see, you kind of like get like pathways, you know, like a typical Dungeon and Dragon dungeon. You can go like left or right, and if you do, you get another subtext. Something else happens, you know, like discard a card and sacrifice an artifact, a creature, and a land. Or you can take the slower route. Each player loses 2 life unless they discard a card. So like discard life loss. What is your deck archetype trying to do? So you can kind of fulfill that with the graveyard, with the dungeons, and then you just keep going until you get to the last part of the room. And then once you're in the last room, the dungeon is done, and you fulfilled that requirement. If you want, and if you venture again, you can pick that same dungeon, or you can pick any one of the other 3 and do it all over again. So that's pretty much what we have here. So Hoshi, what do you think about dungeons, like, as a whole? Do you think they're going to be viable? Take it away.
Well, I mean, I think it's pretty cool. I think there's some very unique things about this. Like, I mean, I really like the whole dungeon thing, you know. We're RPG nerds, you know. We never really got into Dungeons and Dragons itself. Like, I always start giggling when people start doing the role-playing thing. It's just me, like, I can't handle it. I'm not mature enough or immature, and I don't know what, you know. Like, I can't handle that part. Yeah. But I do love dungeons, you know. I love them in, like, Final Fantasy and all that kind of stuff. So this is really cool. And, like, Zelda, you know, this reminds me of old school Zelda, like the top-down looking at it while you're moving through stuff. So that's really cool. I like that. It reminds me of sagas in a way, you know, where you're kind of moving down through it, and you have a token, except, you know, you trigger the actual moving through it instead of like the saga. And it's kind of a little reminiscent of the party mechanic too, you know, where they tried to do the whole like getting your party together type thing, which was garbage. We all know no one plays the party decks. The sagas are great. So I don't know. Like, I really like the idea of this, and I think it's cool. And there's some things I really like. The first one is that this is a token. Okay, this is not a rarity card, right? This isn't a mythic rare. There's no rare dungeon or anything like that. So you don't have to burn your wild cards on these. You pretty much just get them automatically, from what I understand, right? So that's cool. We get these without having to do that. Unlike Learn and all that other stuff where you had to like put them in the sideboard. It doesn't take up a sideboard spot. It's weird that it goes into the command zone. Why the command zone of all that? Just call it the dungeon zone or something. It's so weird that they were like, no, it goes into command zone. Oh, the other thing that I saw about this is that it is legal in Commander. Unlike Learn, the Learn ability in the last set, you had to pull it out of the sideboard, and it was a card that you had to put in the sideboard. And there is no sideboard in Commander. Right, so Learn was not legal in there, or you could play it, but you couldn't pull anything out of the sideboard. But this does work. You can pull this out of the sideboard into the command zone, even in Commander, which is okay, whatever. So according to that, it should work in Brawl then too, right? I mean, if it's legal in Commander, then it should be legal in Brawl on Arena as well. So that's cool. That we'll be able to pull something out of our sideboard in Brawl. But yeah, what the other thing I think is different about this than like the sagas and stuff too is that you can trigger this multiple times in a turn, right? You can go infinite with this if you had like an ETB guy that comes in and you were able to get infinite ETBs with him somehow. Like White can do that with like exiling something and bringing it back. You could theoretically go infinite and kill somebody with doing that. So I think
Yorion decks.
Yeah, Yorion. There's that like that battlements card where if you had like 3 of them, you can just like infinitely like blink them and other creatures with it. So I mean the ability to do it already exists in Historic to make infinite combos with this and kill somebody. So it's some jank, I'm sure, but it's still kind of cool, What do you think about the overall like flavor of it?
I love it. I think it's really cool. They could have done very easily just made Lifelink or Island Walk or just copy the same old stuff. The something I've been saying on this channel many times is make cool new lands, make cool new mechanics, new abilities. Make me feel like I'm in the plane again. Like I miss the old sets where I felt like I was in Khans of Tarkir. I felt like I was in the cities of Ravnica, very political. And, if we're going to be jumping from plane to plane to plane every few months or so, well, then at least make me feel like it's really cool. And this is a really great way of doing that. Something DrunkenDork has like talked to us in like pre-production is he thinks it's absolute garbage. Yeah, that might be.
Yeah, maybe.
It might be absolute garbage, but I think it's a new archetype. They made a new deck.
Yeah.
Party, like that's not really like a deck style.
No.
That's like you forcing yourself to play something to hopefully get something. And could be the same thing with dungeons. But again, there's a lot of like flicker effects.
Yeah.
There's a lot of like different cards that already exist that can probably utilize this. And where I see this most being played is Historic Brawl, without a doubt. Because the singleton format, you're able to play a more slow roll game, play some cards that kind of like benefit this and might not be as competitive as like traditional Historic.
Yeah.
If it isn't traditional Historic, that's going to be fucking cool, dude. But if it is, like you said, it's probably going to be janky. But I definitely see this in like Commander, Historic Brawl, like where the singleton can really abuse it. And I think that's really cool, man. Like, I love it. I don't know. I dig it. Like, it might be hot garbage, but
I think we're going to see it in Standard. Cool. Standard is definitely going to be a place for this. Now, I will say about this, and it's what I said about the party mechanic that came in, was when we first started reviewing the party mechanic. And Wethoff was like, this is crap. I'm going to kill everyone that plays this. And he was right about that one. But I stand by what I said, and it's not the mechanic of this. The dungeon mechanic thing is pretty cool, and these dungeons are interesting. It's the support cards around them that are going to decide whether this is a good archetype or not. Like the things that actually venture into the dungeons, right? That give you those venture triggers, right? Because if you have a bunch of those each turn, you're blaring through these dungeons. There could be one where like, hey, if you complete all 3 dungeons, you win the game or something, which would be cool. Something like that. So there could be some really interesting mechanics with this. Hopefully they don't make it too broken like they did with adventure and give like Lucky Clover or something insane like that. So they can always go way too far with this. Like adventure isn't that crazy of a mechanic, right? We still have some like really good cards from it, like Bone Crusher and stuff that we see around in Fey Wishes. But then they were like Lucky Clover and it just like annihilated standard. So they have to be they have to be
destroyed everything.
They have to be careful. And so when they introduce stuff like this, and so it's hard for I think like set mechanics like this to trickle down into what's becoming an eternal format like historic. It has to be a really high power level to be for something that's a mechanic like this to be able to fit into decks in historic. I think so. I
completely agree with you, dude. You're so like right on the money with that. If the cards don't support it, it's dead. It's not going to be anything. If there isn't cool cards that have like immediate effects, they need to have like really good cards that warrant completing a dungeon. Right? I'm not sure how many are spoiled, but the only one I see is Gloomstalker, which like as long as you complete a dungeon, that has double strike.
Yeah, there's a couple.
Like, okay.
There's a couple right now, but I think we're gonna get a lot more. Hopefully that are hopefully more exciting than that. But did you
Time will tell.
Did you want to talk about these 3 different dungeons that we have though? Real quick.
Yeah. Let's touch into the dungeon. So we got Tomb of Annihilation up.
Yeah.
I guess let's just finish it off. Sure. So like if you take like the left side path, each player loses 2 life unless they sacrifice an artifact, a creature, or land. And then finally, the final boss room is Cradle of the Death God.
Yeah.
Create the Atropal, a legendary 4/4 black god horror creature token with Death Touch.
Pretty good.
So this is like mono black, like or mono black discard, maybe like Dimir control. Definitely involving discard and like using your life as a resource. I actually really like this dungeon. What do you think?
So the interesting so this is the fastest of the dungeons, by the way, because this one you can complete in 3 ventures, right? If you take the Oubliette path, but the Oubliette path is brutal on you because if you take that one, you have to discard a card and sacrifice an artifact, a creature, and a land. Brutal. That's rough. But if you're desperately trying to finish off a tomb, because maybe there's some really cool effect if you finish off a dungeon or whatever, then maybe you're willing to take that sacrifice. But the other route I think is interesting for like mono red, unfortunately, because I hate mono red. But it, like if you look at these first 3 ventures down that side, lose 1 life, lose 2 life, lose another 2 life, right? In an aggressive deck, if they give mono red cards that can take advantage of this venture thing, this could be super dangerous for hyper aggro decks like that, because they don't care about losing 2 life, right? They're just trying to kill you off real quick. So that could be very scary. And then at the end, they get a 4/4 creature with Death Touch, and like that's just
wow.
Yeah.
I didn't even think about that. That's a pretty good idea.
Unfortunately.
Mono red can very easily get through the 4 dungeon rooms.
Yeah.
I mean, they're playing something every turn.
And they usually have haste, so they could come in and like start the ventures like real quick and just start burning through this dungeon over and over again.
They have ways to cheat mana to keep playing more creatures or spells. Yeah. That's a good idea, dude. Definitely like Rakdos aggro could make good use of this too.
Yeah.
They depend on like pinging life and stuff like that. So that's really cool. Well, which one you want to talk about next?
Let's move to Lost Mine of Phandelver.
Phandelver?
Yeah, this is the mid-range one. That's next. So,
what you take this one?
Okay, sure. So this one is so it's a 4-roomer, but this one has more like different pathways that you can go down. So the first one is Scry. The first room is Scry 1. Okay, whatever. The first one's always going to be the worst, right? And the last one's going to be the best effect. So the second room is going to be either Goblin Lair, which you get a 1/1 red Goblin creature token, or you can go the other room with the Mine Tunnels, where you create a treasure token. On those. And then the next room, the third room, it splits into 3 different paths, which is pretty cool. So you have Storeroom, which is put a 1/1 counter on target creature. Dark Pool, each opponent loses 1 life and you gain 1 life. That's interesting. And then Fungi Cavern, where target creature gets -4, -0 until your next turn. Meh, terrible. The middle one I think is by far the best. If you're able to loop this over and over again, you can ping someone to death probably. And then the last one is going to be Temple of Dumathian. Is that it? I don't know. And then you draw.
That looks right.
Sure. Okay. And then you draw a card. You draw a card for that one, which is meh, whatever. 1 card at the end.
Yeah.
I feel like that's kind of a weak sauce, but sure. Yeah. So I feel a little underwhelmed by this one, except for maybe the pink. You get some okay stuff in here. But what do you think about this one?
So okay, something I didn't talk about actually was Wizards hasn't denied it, but they did say it's not just creatures that goes to adventures, and it could be spells.
Yeah.
So this has to be in a control shell because they don't play creatures, and this is a lot of rooms. So I see this as more of a control deck, trying to maybe slow the creatures, get some treasures, make a big beater, -4, slow down the attack, get the draw.
Yeah.
And if they're using spells a lot, control or tempo, basically. But this is where I kind of see it. A lot of the modes are a little all over the place. If you go the Goblin Lair route, I mean, you can technically make that a 2/2.
Yeah.
I just don't see what that route is trying to do.
It's pretty weak.
Yeah, but I mean, I see this as control or tempo spellslingers kind of shell.
Okay.
What about you?
Yeah, I think this is more like a mid-range maybe type, where they're trying to do some type of combo-y thing and go off with it and just loop this over and over again to where they can maybe ping you to death. That's the best thing that I could see. Grow some goblins or something. If you can give them haste. I don't know. I'm not. This is the one that I'm most meh about.
For sure.
Out of them, I don't really care for this one too much. But they did already give us one thing that's not a creature that has it, which is a planeswalker is able to venture. The new planeswalker that we got. There you go. Yeah. So.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
so that confirms that.
Let's move on to the next one then.
All right, so the final one we have is Dungeon of the Mad Mage. I do like these names, by the way. So when you first enter the dungeon, you go into the Yawning Portal. And this is by far has the most rooms. Yawning Portal, you gain 1 life. And then you go into the dungeon level.
Oops.
Scry 1. Hang on, Twitch and YouTubers. Don't worry. We'll go ahead and pull it up for you guys to see. But after you leave the Yawning Portal, you go into the dungeon level, which is Scry 1. So cool. Again, another control element. And then you get 2 pathways, and then you kind of diverge back into the middle again. Like I said, this is a really odd dungeon, but it's really cool. If you take the right path, you go into Twisted Caverns. Target creature can't attack until your next turn. The left path is Goblin Bazaar. Create a treasure token. And then you meet in the middle, like I said, and that's Lost Level. Use Scry 2. And then you diverge again into Muriel's Graveyard. Create 2 1/1 black skeleton creature tokens. And then on the left side is Runestone Caverns. Exile the top 2 cards of your library. You may play them. And then you meet back in the middle for Deep Mines, Scry 3. Seems to be a theme here. And then finally, you go into Mad Wizard's Lair. Draw 3 cards and reveal them. You may cast one of them without paying its mana cost. So there it is. It's up for you guys to see.
Whoops.
A lot of rooms.
Yeah. Sorry about that.
This one is like probably my favorite one. It is doing quite a bit, and you can kind of twist and turn depending on like what your deck style is. Again, mid-range control. I see this. The scry can be pretty relevant. Getting free scries too is always good. Not having to use the temple lands. So you can have a land, you can have a land come in untapped, and then you're just getting these scries as long as you fulfill the triggers. And mid-range is a great way of doing that because you play a mix of spells and creatures. So if you have like a great mix of, venturing into a dungeon, you can get through this dungeon relatively quickly and be able to kind of like filter through your deck and get exactly what you need when you need it, and then pick the modes that are relevant, like exiling the top 2 cards. That's something that like red splash mid-range likes to do. In effect, think of an effect like Chandra, or, create 2 black, skeleton creature tokens, for blockers or something like that. If your opponent's getting a little out of hand, you just need to block. They don't have trample. So overall, really good, really dig it. I think this one's the best one by far. And the one that's probably going to be played the most, if it is a thing. But I don't know. What about you?
I think this is really great for control. If the thing is like from what it looks like right now, most of the dungeon mechanics are creature based. So I know that they will have other ones that are non-creature based that let you venture. But if there's a good control way of doing this, then man, control really likes to scry to find the answers that it needs for whatever problem control is having. This is also making blockers potentially with the skeletons, which can help them live longer. And then that last thing, while they're scrying all that way to find maybe the scry 3 right before the Mad Wizard's lair is insane, because you can set up your next bomb that you want to go off with that for free. So you get something like omniscience or something down, who knows, like for free. So like, I mean, you have to go 7 deep to get this one. This is by far the longest. The last one was 4, and then this one's 7 rooms to get to the Mad Wizard's lair, which is cool. That sounds fun to get that. Yeah, so I like this one the most too. I think it's like the coolest. It has the best payoff. It's the longest to get there, but I think it also has all of the best stuff going through it. And I think it's the best for control as well. So I mean, that's my initial thoughts. We'll see. Like we said, it's the support cards that are really going to make it.
Time will tell. So hopefully, it's spoiler season. Watsy keeps posting stuff. Hopefully we get some cool stuff that supports this cool mechanic. I dig it. DrunkenDork might not. Hoshi seems to dig it. What about you guys? Let us know in the comments below. We want to know what you think. Join our Discord. It's a funny family, and we all kind of share ideas there, so there's a link down there. But you know what? The easiest way to help support the Mana Dorks is just clicking that subscribe button. Make sure you click that bell notification, thumbs up if you dig it. It really does help us out and the channel as a whole. So we're going to be moving on. I know we talked about some 100-card Brawl algorithm, but we're going to save that for main phase 2. But next, we're going into combat.
Ooh.
Uh-oh. DrunkenDork's not here.
Oh, no.
What are we doing?
Well, guess what?
You made a game.
I did.
Yeah. I assumed as much. That's why I didn't get my hopes up.
I got ready for it. Yeah, so this is the horseshit card game, everybody. Hooray!
Yay!
Now, normally DrunkenDork does this, okay? And normally we bet on this, too. So it's been like high stakes, betting between us. But DrunkenDork's not here. So I don't think it's fair to do it without him. I asked him if he could pre-record it before he got punched in the face, so I guess he didn't get a chance to. So we'll
memory loss is real.
Yeah, so we'll still do it this week, because hey, it's fun. I like doing it. I think everyone out there likes to play this too. And so here we go. So this is the horseshit card game, everybody. So let's see. Here we go. All right. The horseshit card game is where I read off 4 Magic cards in from a single Magic format. Okay, so 3 of these cards are real, but one of them is total horseshit. And it's up to this drunken idiot right here to figure out which card it is. And as always, all you dorks out there in the audience feel free to play along with us too and try and beat Apollo in this game. All right, so Apollo.
Not a hard task to do.
He's our reigning loser. But
now,
you are in second
I have a
place.
question for you.
Okay, sure.
There's only me. There's no drunken dork.
That's true.
So usually when we do 2-player, it's 3 cards instead
That's
of
true.
4.
That is true.
Is that going to be in the mix?
No, it's not. No. No.
No. Okay. All right. Yeah, I don't like this dealer. I don't like this. I don't like this casino.
You know what?
I'm taking my yard-long margarita and venturing off elsewhere.
This is training season for you, man. You got to make sure that you don't become last place next to DrunkenDork. DrunkenDork is still in last, right?
That's true.
This is your training day, right?
All right, here we go.
Points free. You don't even lose any points for this one, so good stuff.
Cool.
All right, so
Dig it.
this one is coming from Zendikar Rising set. All right,
okay.
You ready to go? You ready for this first card?
Yeah. Fuck it, dude. Let's do it.
Okay, so the first card is Cabria Outrider. It is 3 and a white. Creature, human, warrior at common. And when Cabria Outrider enters the battlefield, target creature gets +1/+1 until the end of turn for each creature in your party. Oh yeah, I'm going with a party mechanic theme on this one because, the dungeon thing, I felt like it was appropriate to bring back party.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, life's a party.
Okay, good. Ready for the next one?
Yep.
All right. The next one is Seagate Channeler. It is 3 and 2 white for a creature core wizard at common. When Seagate Channeler enters the battlefield, if you have a full party, place a 1/1 counter on each other creature you control. And it's a 2/3.
Okay.
All right. Next, we have Allied Assault. It's 2 and a white for an instant at uncommon. Up to 2 target creatures each get +X/+X until the end of turn, where X is the number of creatures in your party.
Okay.
All right. And last, we have Drana's Silencer. It is 5 and a black for a creature vampire rogue at common. When Drana's Silencer enters the battlefield, target creature an opponent controls gets -X until the end of turn, where X is the number of creatures in your party. And it is a 3/2.
And that costs 5 mana, you said?
6 altogether. It's 5 colorless and a black.
Okay. Could you read the 4th one again?
The Allied Assault.
I'm sorry, the third one.
Okay.
Yeah.
The third one is Allied Assault. It is 2 and a white for an instant at uncommon. Up to 2 target creatures each get +X/+X until the end of turn, where X is the number of creatures in your party.
Oh man, I'm thinking it's that one or the last one, the black card. But oh man, for some reason maybe the second one. No, I'm going with it. I'm going with the third one.
Okay, you are choosing Allied
it's horseshit.
Assault. All right. Yeah. Well, Michael, I have good news.
I won?
You're wrong again. No, I won.
Yeah.
The horseshit card was Seagate Channeler. 3 and 2 white for a creature core wizard at common, and when he enters the battlefield, if you have a full party, everybody gets a 1/1 counter. or each other creature, you control. So
That was the second one, wasn't it?
that was the second one, yeah.
God damn it! I had it in my head. Damn it! I was thinking that it was horseshit, but then because of Seagate Stormcaller or whatever Seagate the blue one. But then I know. I always think DrunkenDork just takes a name, I'm like, no, that's got to be a card. There must be more Seagates, maybe there is. But...
There's white Seagate cards in the thing too. There's Seagate.
Just not that one.
It's not that one. No, it is not that one.
Damn it!
It's like Seagate Sentinel or something like that. Yeah, there's a few of them.
Well, the benefit is that I don't lose any points this
That's
week.
true. Yeah, you don't lose any points. So, I mean, good job, I guess.
Yeah, it feels good to lose. Whatever. That was the horseshit card game, everyone. What'd you think? Did you get it wrong like this fucking idiot does every single week? Or were you right? Let us know in the comments below. We'd love to hear your comments and see what you guys guessed. This week's winner, again, we go into Mr. Hosh getting it.
That's right.
A little golf clap for you, sir. And then with that, we're going into our final segments of the evening, and that is going to be our second main phase. Whoa, second main phase. So, Historic Brawl meta, wild card of the week, wacky game showcase. There is a lot to talk about, man. And do you have a samp, or do we just keep moving on?
Oh yeah, no.
It's Apollo's Wacky Wild Card of the Week in Metagame Showdown.
There it is. That's the full title of the name with the creepy clown music, because apparently I'm a huge creepo. So yeah, wild card of the week. Let's just blast through this. Now, I did want to pick a wild card actually that would have been relevant for a 100-card Historic Brawl, but the event is over, and I don't want you guys to burn wild cards if the actual format doesn't even come back. But something I did think was really good. With all the meta games coming around, is it Phoenix? A lot of creatures, low and fast, going wide. Anger the Gods, really good.
Yeah,
Anger Gods is a really amazing board wipe. So if you want to play the colors of red, but you don't want to play Izzet, you don't want to do what everyone else is doing, Anger Gods is a great way to get there. A very good card for sideboard for Gruul, because typically the creatures are bigger than 3. And the ones that we have, if they do have to die, hopefully you're in that point of the game where you don't really care. You already have the mana. You don't need the Land of War Elves anymore. Hopefully your Pelt Collector is grown big enough, etc., etc. So, Anger the Gods, what do you think? Think it's good? Bad? Shitty?
I like it. As a best of one player, I prefer to play Sweltering Sun because you can scry it. Or you can not scry it.
Yeah.
You can cycle it. Cycle it. And in best of one, it's a dead card against control. So I would want to be able to get rid of it. Where Anger of the Gods is just going to sit in my hand, and I'm not going to be able to do anything with it. So
I don't know if Sweltering Suns exiles them if they die, though. Does it?
No, it does not. So it's worse in that respect. Yeah. But
yeah, that's the only reason why I picked it as for best of 3, because there's so much graveyard shit going around, especially as it Phoenix.
Yeah,
get that's that shit out of here.
The Vanguard in the enchantment deck too. It works really good against you. Yeah. So. Yeah.
All right. So second main topic. There's something me and Hoshi have been kind of talking about a little bit off screen. Something that we feel pretty passionate about. Historic 100-card Brawl. Yes, we're talking about it again because they did 2 events with it. It was really big. It was really big for Arena. Commander is very dear and near to all 3 of our hearts, and I was really excited to see it, just like my other 2 co-hosts. So the algorithm that they went and put forth to do matchmaking is kind of weird. They have a point system or some kind of algorithm that they've made that determines whether a commander is top tier or not.
Yeah.
How do they determine that? Who knows? It is left to be said. But I think it's kind of a bullshit. It's kind of bullshit.
Yeah.
Because you end up with games where all you're playing is nonsense. and you're not playing against other decks. What's to say that, Elf Ball, like, is that tier 1? I would think so, but maybe Wizards doesn't, because all it's doing is playing creatures and playing fair. No, there's some mono green stompy shit where they're doing insane amount of things, like being able to have such an early strong board state where they're able to ultimate Nissa, get all their lands down, and then they essentially have infinite mana. That's pretty broken. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, a little
like
bit.
there's a lot of the mutate commanders, like the Dimir one, the Kraken ugly thing. That thing is broken. It's like a mill control Dimir strategy. It has it pulls demons out of the graveyard. It has I forget the name of the demon, but it's pretty much like I can't believe I don't remember this demon either.
You're talking about
the
one that comes in and then you can pull something out of the graveyard. Yeah.
There's that one, and then there's
that's
one
not
where you
mutate.
gain life
That's a
if you lose
companion one,
life.
too.
Like you draw cards if you lose life. I mean, there's some really powerful strategies there, but does Wizards consider that tier 1? No.
I don't know.
That doesn't make sense to me. So, so we're going to talk about the meta overall, and we're going to talk about this silly algorithm. Obviously, I'm in disfavor of it. Hoshi, I know you got a lot to say about this. You've been playing a shit ton, so
Yeah.
take it away. What do you think about this?
You know what? We mentioned this before, where I thought that there should be 2 queues for this. There should be one where you can play with whatever their bullshit algorithm is, where, hey, if you only want to play strong decks, you can play strong decks, right? And if you want to play janky decks and you don't want to have to deal with those strong decks, like playing only against them, then yeah, you can play that, But I don't like the fact that you don't, if I play some kind of jank commander, I will never play, a strong deck. Like, I'll never have a chance to play against Winota or whatever. What I think is weird is they're just outright saying that, hey, this one card is very strong, so it's tier 1, even though certain jank strategies might be very strong against that, But there's so they didn't disclose anything about their algorithm really, or how it works or what the point system was or what commanders are deemed that or whatever. So
Right.
I hate that. I hate the lack of transparency from them, which is usual. I mean, we're all used to that from Wizards. They don't tell us anything. And if they do, it's in a terrible, a terrible way. So they'll release some tweet or something and you're like, what? Some dev will say something about it and you're like, oh, cool. Thanks guys for, So I don't know. I mean, I love the event, it was great. And you know what, I will say this, unfortunately, for as much smack talking as I did about it, when I did play my jank decks, it was kind of nice not playing against Omnath over and over and over again. When I played Winota, I made Winota first and I played 6 Omnath decks in a row. And I was like, okay, this is not fun. So playing these strong decks is supremely unfun, I think, which is, kind of the way I roll anyways. I like playing more like the wacky stuff. So, Zacama is pretty wacky, by the way. Your commander right here. This is a pretty interesting looking deck, but
it's a standard, like how you would build a commander deck.
Pretty
that's
much.
The
You got
approach.
Chaos Warp in there. You got Teferi's Protection, Nissa. Yeah, this is great. I really like it. But
Turn Timber Symbiosis.
Yeah. So, I mean, I had a lot of fun playing it, but I hate that there had to be some kind of fuckery that they put in there. Like, why can't you just let it be? It's not a competitive format, so
it's not.
I mean, everyone wants to win, but it's not actually competitive. So
it's not like Parastyle EDH or whatever, but the problem I have too is no 2 commanders are the same. So what says I play Zacama, does that mean I'm playing Lightning Helix and I'm playing Burn, I'm playing Lightning Bolt, I'm playing all the most powerful spells? If I'm playing Black, does that mean I'm playing Dark Ritual? Maybe you don't have the wild cards for that. Maybe you just like a certain commander, but WotC labels that as tier 1, and now you're getting your fucking face smashed in by Omnath decks all day because you just want to play someone that they deem as tier 1, and I think that's unfair too. And something you touched on, we have no idea what this algorithm is. How are you determining it? Are you looking at deck lists? Are you looking at certain cards? Well, who are you to determine if a card is OP or not? Obviously there is some. But just because I run like a bunch of land stuff, why am I playing the same people all the time? Like, that's not fair. So I think that's like the biggest issue, right? Like, no two commanders are the same. One person can have the same commander, but build the deck completely different. That's the beauty of commander style, like singleton decks. In this case, Historic Brawl.
Yeah.
So I don't know. That's like my biggest gripe. And I wish we had some more information on how they determined that.
Yeah, and you know what? I really like what you touched on there because I have a Golos deck that I like to play, which is it's a Shrines deck. At least in the 60 card, I did not make it for the 100 card one actually, which I kind of regret doing now. But and that's mainly because I don't think it was going to be good against Winota and all, like just getting my face beat in because I'm going to be playing all the tier 1 decks with like my nonsense Golos like deck that I made, because Golos is meant to be at least in Brawl, I think, just a good stuff deck where all you're playing is good stuff,
right.
But I just wanted to play him as an enchantment commander. I guess I could use other commanders to use that, but almost all of the like 5 color commanders are probably considered tier 1 by Wizards. So I came up with this stacks deck. I think this one was pretty fun. It's not as powerful as the 60 card version of it. I was not having quite as big as success, but it's still like, this is just a like torture your opponent deck as well. Pretty fun. But yeah, I think they could do a better job of it. I'm curious to see what they take away from this, because they said they were watching this to see how it plays out. Another thing that I thought was interesting about them doing 100 cards is this like their like test for commander, maybe for for arena. Like, hey, they love commander, or they love commander because commander is where the money is,
The big money is.
Yeah, so I don't see why they wouldn't be trying to push some kind of commander thing into arena, besides the fact that maybe their client just can't handle it,
Yeah, that's too much cards. I mean, if they're rolling with Historic Brawl, man, keep going. I mean, they're obviously adding stuff. The big key takeaway here is like exactly what you just said, man. They said, WotC has said explicitly that they're watching very closely on how this format's going to be played out. They're watching who's playing what's being played, who's getting matched up. Okay, if you're going to take that information, relay that information back to us. What are you planning to do? Yeah. Because a lot of people love this event. A lot of people played it, us 3 included. And it's gone, and we don't know if it's coming back or anything. So hopefully we get some information. Let us know in the comments below. If you're listening to us on the road, be sure to follow us on YouTube. Click that bell notification, like the video, subscribe if you can. But with that, we're going to move on into our final segments. We have our, where is it? Second main phase.
Step.
Ooh. End step.
What? Well, that was messed up a little bit, but whatever. It's a grow.
No, we could do this.
End step.
Oh, there it is.
Oh man, I hate that so much. I'm in trouble.
Oh, yeah. Well, we're gonna have to re-record.
Okay,
So past couple weeks been talking about something you guys been wanting to know, a little bit more information about us and our backgrounds. We talked about DrunkenDork and we talked about Hoshi. Now we're going to touch into me. How did I get into Magic the Gathering? Well, much like these guys, it started off when I was a wee little child. I'm not sure. I don't think it was alpha or beta. I definitely have Arabian Nights cards. I definitely have 3rd edition. So, but pretty much we went to a garage sale. When me and my brother, when we were little kids, our parents driving around on the weekends, and took us to a garage sale, and we saw, a bunch of like trading cards, basketball, football, all the like. And what really turned me on to seeing these Magic cards was the art. I thought it was so cool. I love like, medieval stuff, dragons and, knights and swords and stuff like that, goblins. Like, it looked really cool. So it was just like a long box of just random cards. And and then it just kind of started from there. Me and my brother would play each other. We would try to build decks. I have no idea how we knew like some of the rules. I mean, we were playing wrong, right? Like,
Oh, yeah.
Like, but we didn't. I don't know how I knew that you at least had to have 7 cards in your hand, and you draw 1 card each turn. I don't know how I do that. Like, maybe I had a player's book or something when I was a kid.
Yeah,
I don't
they
know,
had like one of those little like books, and it looked exactly like the case did. I remember them giving those out.
Yeah.
And I still did. Like,
Yeah.
the instructions were terrible. They were not kid friendly. I remember because I didn't understand any of it. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we were doing things like completely wrong. We're like little kid stuff. Like, well, I'm going to do it now, and it's like like my deck is pretty funny. I actually still have this deck that I made when I was a little boy. It's a Gruul, my version of Gruul aggro, and it's just all full of burn for red and big dumb creatures, like the hugest dragons and worms I can find.
Nice.
I actually do have the Llanowar elves. I did have Llanowar elves and Find Horde elves. That was like one of the first ones. So I did have those in my deck. And it's hot garbage, dude. But obviously I loved those colors from way back then.
Yeah.
And I was trying to do something. I would just go to like garage sales and stuff like that, play with kids, and somehow acquired more cards. I played a little bit more. I think we're going to do this in like multiple segments. So,
Yeah.
Middle school and beyond, we'll touch on that like next week.
Sure.
But yeah, I just played with my brother all the time. Very like, just love the art. That's like something I can't like stress enough was just the art to me looked so cool, and really loved the whole Dungeons and Dragons theme to it. So
Yeah. Definitely.
yeah. So let us know in the comments, how did you guys get into Magic? Because it's a game that is obviously very dear to all of our hearts. It's one of our favorite games of all time. But with that, we will go into our cleanup and then our discard. Cleanup is just social media promo. You're going to be seeing it popped all over our screen. If you're listening on wherever you take your podcast, you will see it in the descriptions below. Just follow the links and it will take you where you need to go. And then with discard, we go ahead and finish whatever we've been drinking.
Well,
And I know your girlfriend hates it, but
Discard phase. Drink 'em up, boys.
you heard the lady. Sorry, Jamie.
that one can stay. That one can definitely stay.
All right, that one's good. End step's got to go.
I'll take the hits for that one. That's worth it.
All right, sounds good. Well, there it is. Everyone that's watching or listening, put them up. Or if you're driving, don't put them up. Keep them down. But if you're not driving, put them up. Cheers. We love you all. We'll see you next week.
Peace out.
Yum, yum. In my tum-tum.